Okay, so let's talk about the goals that we have for today. The first one is that we're gonna identify and define what healthy boundaries are. The second is to identify our own triggers that make healthy boundaries hard to hold, hard to identify, or hard to maintain. We'll practice tuning into our own guidance system to identify what those boundaries are, where they are, how do we know what our boundaries are, and stay in tune with them. And then the last piece will be practicing communicating our boundaries to others, because that is an integral part of having healthy boundaries is how do we tell other people where that line is and what's okay and what's not okay. So we'll practice communicating today. Okay. So first, I like to just take a moment to get grounded, to get centered in any workshop, any time together, but especially when we're talking about boundaries. This is the crux of tapping into our boundaries is being grounded in ourselves. And that just really means there are a lot of levels that we can think about grounding on, but physically right now, I'd love if you can put your feet on the ground. It's okay if you have shoes on, but just to feel your feet, the contact that they make with the ground. It can be helpful to wiggle your toes. And this is a trick that I use in interpreting a lot when I start to get triggered by whatever the is being talked about. If you wiggle your toes, it brings your energy down into your body. So it's not just like we're up in our heads, we can feel in our bodies and remember that we are separate from whoever and whatever is going on around us. So we can just take a deep breath here. And if you do have essential oils, I like to use them. I usually open up my workshops with them just because there's so many properties of plants that can be helpful for us. And they're a great way to affect and shift our energy. And I said there's some essential oils that are really great for boundaries, specifically for helping us to feel our own energy, to feel ourselves separate from, but able to connect with other people. So tea tree oil is the first one. And I'm going to just put this on my forehead here. I like to do that in terms of like mentally being able to separate myself from other people. And then clove is also a great oil for boundaries. And I'm going to put that on my solar plexus. And we're going to talk about the solar plexus a couple times today. So I'll tell you where that is. It's right, if you wear a bra, it's right beneath your bra in the front of your body, but it's where your rib cage comes together here in the front. And it's just a very, it's a very vulnerable spot on our body. It's really the center, the core of the body. So it's a great place for feeling into, again, what's ours and what's other people's. So I'm going to put just a little bit of clove there, right on that spot where my ribs come together. Okay. And again, if you want to just take a deep breath, feel your weight on your seat, feel your feet on the ground, just notice that you're here in this moment in your space. Okay. And we're going to start out with our handout. This is really like, these are the kinds of things that I would journal about. So that's what my handouts often look like. It's like for you to be able to think into like, what does this stuff mean to you? So the first question that I'd like you to think about is, I just shared essential oils with you and wiggling my toes as two things that help me feel grounded. What's one thing that helps you feel grounded? How do you, when you're maybe anxious or worried, or maybe even excited, like anticipating something, how do you bring yourself back into your body, feel confident, strong, grounded? What helps you with that? So if you would write on your handout, and then when we're going to do introductions in just a minute, and I would love for some of you to share what your grounding tool is. Okay, so a little disclaimer here and a reminder. I am not the expert. I'm not the expert on boundaries. In fact, you are the expert on your own boundaries. Okay, so the tools that I'm going to share today and that we'll practice together, I'd love for you to think of them as it literally like I am sharing a tool with you. You're going to borrow it, you're going to try it on, you're going to feel into it and find the edges of it, where it works for you, where it maybe doesn't work so much for you. And you can, I love this idea of alchemizing. You can take what works for you, mix it with your own experience, your own inner knowing, and then hopefully move forward and have something new to be able to utilize. But I just really want to reinforce that you're the expert here on yourself and your own boundaries. And I want, if I could just like speak a reminder over all of us, just that we remember that our own existence and our own perspectives are valid and unquestionable. So just again, it's a place to ground in to we're each unique humans with different perspectives, and that's good. We want that. So I'd love for us to just practice holding ourselves gently, holding this information gently as we explore together, really looking at it as an exploration.